There are 3 things that you can do with your money. Can you figure out what the 3 things are? Hello and welcome. My name is Peter B. and I welcome you here at My First Million, where we are achieving our financial goals together. So today's video is a very basic fundamental videos. And we are basically covering what 3 things we can do with our money. But the video today is not only covering those 3 things, it's also then focusing on how we can optimize the allocation between the 3 things. So by now, were you able to figure out what 3 things you can do with your money? Let's check it out. So there are 3 things you can do with your money. You can save it, you can spend it, or you can invest it. So this is really very basic. With every dollar that you get, you can decide what of the 3 things you want to use this dollar for. You want to save it, you want to spend it on something, or you want to use it for investments. So the graph here is probably showing a regular allocation of money. So usually the biggest portion of your money, of anybody's money, is going toward expenses. You have your cost of living that you need to cover, daily expenses, and maybe there's also some want-to-haves that you want to purchase. So a big portion of your money is most likely going into the red portion, into the expenses bucket. And then this graph also shows you probably what's regularly happening throughout time when you're getting older. So at first, when you start earning money, already at the beginning, you should try to save a portion of your money. You have your daily expenses or your regular expenses, but at least a portion of your money should go into savings. And savings basically have 2 purposes. First, it provides you security. So if something happens to your job, you have a cushion there that you can be using. Or if you have something unexpectedly coming up, like maybe your car could be breaking down, then you have some money aside that you can be used, get those unplanned expenses paid for. So savings provide security. But moreover, at least a portion of your savings also help you to additional reduce your expenses, especially from insurances. I went through a commercial insurance apprenticeship for 3 years where I was able to study the ins and outs of insurances. And basically, I am a huge proponent for insurances, but only for things that endanger your financial stability. So you only want to insure that portion or those risks that if there's an incident, you cannot pay it out of your pocket, or that will have significant impact into your life. So these incidents you want to insure. But small things, of things that could break, usually you shouldn't be insuring those. It's cheaper to have a savings account which you can be using for emergencies. Like one very common example that I would like to bring up is like a tire insurances. A regular person shouldn't even consider to purchase a tire insurance. You should be able to cover those from your savings account. But of course, these are only my suggestions. So when you are young, as soon as you start to earn money, you want to make sure that you build up a savings account with an emergency fund in it. So this should be happening as soon as possible. Usually recommendations go to have like a 3 to 6 months of your expenses should be able to be covered by this emergency fund. Then as soon as you have built up your emergency fund, you can use the money that you are saving for investments. So every dollar that you save more, you can use them to allocate into investments so that you can build up an investment portfolio. And you can see here, I draw a flat line. So the investing portion of it probably should be staying the same around a longer period of time. But of course, this is not like what real life is doing. There will be fluctuations. Sometimes you will be able to invest more, and sometimes you will be able to invest less. And at least according to my experiences, there will be two major factors that will define how much you are able to allocate towards investments. One factor is over time, as you get more experienced, you should be able to boost your salary. You should be able to earn more and more. But at the same time, you want to make sure that your expenses are not increasing at a faster clip than your salary. Or ideally, your expenses will even be staying flat or only slightly increase, even with salary increases. So that the allocation toward investing is getting more. In contrast, when you marry and have children, you will see that there will be lifestyle inflation. Maybe not deliberately, you're not spending more on luxuries, but having children is also costing significantly more than being single or just living with your spouse. So you will see there will be some pressure on your expense side. But at the same time, you should always try to also increase your earnings simultaneously. So as said, how much you are investing will fluctuate, but ideally it will at least proportionally stay the same. And then at one time, of course, when you get closer towards retirement age, you probably won't need to invest anymore. Your investment portfolio should be big enough and you don't need to invest further. And you can use more and more money towards your expenses. Or maybe over time your investment portfolio is even covering your lifestyle expenses at the time when you're retiring. So this one here is probably a very typical simplified situation what everyone should try to achieve. So, however, I would strongly recommend to try always to save more and therefore also invest more, especially as early as possible. Why as early as possible? Because then you will profit much more of the compounding effect. So the earlier you push towards investing more, the longer of a time horizon you have ahead of you and the longer of a time horizon you can make use of getting this compounding snowball to improve. So I guess if you're watching this channel and this video, I believe this is a goal of yours, that you want to start out as early as possible in order to win financially as easy as possible. So the earlier you start, the easier it's going to be. So if you don't have a big savings rate yet that you can put more money toward investments, then try to implement changes in your life now, because now it will have the biggest impact. Don't wait for later, because later the effect of compounding interest will become smaller. So I have another example here. So if your savings rate is much lower and therefore you're much able to invest much less, you will see that the timeline will stretch to much longer for how long it will be taking until you will be able to retire. And maybe retirement is not your goal yet, but at least it's nice to be financially free so that you can make your decisions in life, not really depending on money. So to sum up this video, there are 3 things you can do with your money. You can save it, you can spend it, and you can invest it. And the earlier you are starting with investing and the more you put into investments earlier, the more you will profit from compounding interests. So therefore, really try to take delayed gratification into consideration when it comes to your allocation of your money. How are you allocating your money, your income? Please share with us in the comment below. Thanks a lot for joining us today. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and especially I look forward to seeing you winning financially.